Welcome back to another transformative episode of Journey to Success. I'm Emily Carter, your host, and today we're diving into a topic that's the backbone of achieving any goal: developing self discipline. Joining us is an exceptional guest, Dr. Andrew Coleman, a performance coach, best selling author, and motivational speaker who's empowered thousands to master their habits and turn dreams into reality. Andrew, it's an absolute privilege to have you with us today.
Thank you, Emily. I'm thrilled to be here and explore a subject that's not just about willpower, but about building a life of purpose and consistency through intentional choices.
I'm so excited to hear your insights. Self discipline sounds daunting, but it's so vital for progress. Andrew, let's start with a big picture. Why is developing self discipline so essential for success, and how does it shape our lives?
That's a fantastic question, Emily, and it really gets to the heart of why self-discipline is such a game changer. Self-discipline is the bridge between your aspirations and your achievements. It's not about being rigid or denying yourself joy. It's about making deliberate choices to stay focused, even when distractions tempt or motivation fades. Discipline fuels resilience, productivity, and confidence, letting you tackle challenges and build habits that align with your deepest values. Without it, goals remain wishes. With it, you create a life of impact and fulfillment. I think of someone like Serena Williams, whose 23 Grand Slams didn't come from talent alone, but from disciplined practice, hours of drills, even on tough days. She said, "I really think a champion is defined not by their wins, but by how they recover when they fall." Her commitment shaped her legacy. Early in my own journey, I was a struggling entrepreneur in Austin, launching a fitness app. I'd procrastinate, chasing quick wins, and my business floundered. When I embraced discipline, consistent coding, daily outreach, my app gained traction, funding followed, and I pivoted to coaching. Self-discipline doesn't just drive success. It transforms how you see yourself, turning "I wish" into "I will," and that shift ripples across your life.
That's such a powerful way to frame it, Andrew. Discipline as a bridge to achievement. Serena's recovery mindset is so vivid. You mentioned your early entrepreneurial struggles. Can you walk us through how someone can start developing self-discipline, especially if they feel scattered or lack willpower?
Absolutely, Emily. The first step is to start small with one clear habit. Discipline isn't built overnight. It grows through tiny, consistent actions that compound over time. Pick one goal, say writing daily or exercising, and commit to a small step, like 5 minutes a day. I draw inspiration from James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, who says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." His focus on small habits built his best-selling career. When my app was failing, I was all over the place. Late nights, no routine. I felt powerless. Inspired by Clear, I started with one habit: coding for 10 minutes every morning. It was so small I couldn't fail, and it grew to hours, improving my app's core. That discipline spread: better diet, sleep, and my pitch won investors. I coached a client named Sarah, a teacher who wanted to write a novel but felt too scattered. She thought discipline meant hours of work. We used Clear's method. She wrote one paragraph daily. Within a year, she had a draft, now published. Starting small builds discipline by making consistency feel doable, rewiring your brain for focus. Another step is to create a distraction-free environment. Discipline thrives when temptations are minimized. Clear your desk, silence notifications, set boundaries. I learned this from Steve Jobs, who simplified Apple's focus, saying, "Focus is about saying no." His discipline in cutting noise led to the iPhone. I used to check emails constantly, derailing coding. I began silencing my phone for 2-hour blocks. My productivity doubled. Sarah, inspired by Jobs, cleared her desk and blocked social media during writing time. Her chapters flowed faster. A clean environment isn't about perfection. It's about giving discipline room to breathe.
I love those starting points, Andrew. Small habits and a clear environment. Clear and Jobs make it so practical. But what about when discipline feels tough, like when you're tired or facing setbacks? How do you stay committed?
Oh, Emily, those moments, exhaustion, failure, are where discipline gets tested, and they're so real. The key is to lean on systems, not motivation. Motivation ebbs and flows, but systems, routines, cues, rewards keep you moving. One tool is habit stacking. Tie your disciplined task to an existing routine, like exercising after coffee. I draw from J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter amid chaos by stacking writing with her cafe visits, saying, "You've got to work." It's about showing up. Her discipline birthed a phenomenon. When my app hit bugs, I was drained, ready to quit. Motivation was gone, but Rowling's example pushed me. I stacked coding after breakfast, no excuses. Even on bad days, that routine saved me. My app launched on time. I coached a client named Michael, a salesman who stalled on prospecting after rejections. He felt defeated. Inspired by Rowling, he stacked calls after lunch, using a timer. Rejections still stung, but his system led to a record quarter. Systems carry discipline through fatigue, making action automatic. Another strategy is self-compassion over perfection. If you slip, miss a workout, skip a task, don't spiral into guilt. Acknowledge it kindly and restart. I learned this from Brené Brown, who says, "I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be real." When I overslept and missed coding, I'd beat myself up, stalling more. Brown's kindness helped. I'd say, "Okay, I slipped. I'll code now." It kept me steady. Michael practiced this, forgiving missed calls and trying again. His consistency grew, landing clients. Compassion fuels discipline by keeping you in the game, not the sidelines.
That's so empowering, Andrew. Systems and compassion as discipline's anchors. Rowling and Brown bring it to life. You've mentioned incredible figures like Serena and Clear. Are there other famous people whose self-discipline inspires you?
Oh, absolutely, Emily. Discipline shines through so many remarkable lives. Take Nelson Mandela, whose discipline in prison, studying, exercising, writing, kept his vision alive, saying, "Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world." His routine transformed South Africa. When my app's funding stalled, I leaned on Mandela's focus. I read one industry article daily, sharpening my pitch. It secured a deal. I coached a client named Olivia, a nurse who couldn't stick to studying for a certification. Mandela's discipline inspired her to review one page nightly. She passed, leading her unit. Another is Kobe Bryant, whose Mamba mentality meant relentless practice. For AM workouts, extra reps. He said, "I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language." His discipline won 5 NBA titles. When I doubted my coaching, Bryant's grit pushed me to prep one talk weekly. It landed my TEDx spot. Olivia, inspired by Bryant, exercised 10 minutes daily, boosting energy. Her patients raved. Then there's Angela Merkel, who led Germany with disciplined analysis, saying, "You can't solve problems by hoping they'll go away." Her focus drove stability. I used Merkel's clarity when a workshop flopped. I revised one slide daily. The next sold out. I coached a client named Ethan, a chef who skipped menu planning. Merkel's discipline led him to prep one dish weekly. His restaurant thrived. These icons show discipline isn't flashy. It's steady, daily choices that build greatness.
Those stories are so inspiring, Andrew. Mandela, Bryant, Merkel, they show discipline's depth. What are common mistakes people make when building self-discipline, and how can we avoid them?
Great question, Emily, because pitfalls can derail even eager efforts. One big mistake is relying on willpower alone. Willpower fades. Stress, fatigue eat it up. Discipline needs habits, not grit. I learned this from Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, who says, "Willpower isn't enough. You need a system." I used to push through coding marathons, crashing hard. Now, I rely on routines. Coding at 7 a.m., no debate. It's automatic. I coached a client named Rachel, a writer who forced long sessions, burning out. Duhigg's systems led her to write 15 minutes daily, her novel's done. Avoid willpower traps by building habits that run themselves. Another trap is overloading goals. Too many targets, new diet, job push, gym, split focus, killing discipline. Marie Kondo declutters life for focus, saying, "Keep only what sparks joy." I juggled app fixes, talks, and fitness, flopping it all. Now, I pick one goal monthly. My app grew steadily. Rachel tried writing, blogging, and teaching, stalling. Kondo's focus helped her pick writing. Her articles hit big. Prioritize one discipline at a time. Finally, ignoring rest undermines discipline. Exhaustion breeds slips. Ariana Huffington champions rest, saying, "Sleep is a performance enhancer." I skipped sleep, losing focus, until I set a bedtime. My clarity doubled. Rachel skipped breaks, crashing. Huffington's rest led her to nap daily. Her output soared. Rest fuels discipline's engine.
That's such a wake-up call, Andrew. Doig Systems, Condo's focus, Huffington's rest. They reframe disciplines so clearly. How do we sustain self-discipline long-term, especially when life gets chaotic or old habits resurface?
Sustaining discipline is like steering a ship. It stays on course with steady adjustments, even in storms. One habit is daily cues. Tie discipline to triggers, like a morning alarm for writing, to make it reflex. I learned this from Tony Robbins, who cues workouts with music, saying, "Rituals create results." I cue coaching prep with coffee. My sessions shine. I coached a client named Anna, a lawyer who skipped exercise. Robbins' cues led her to run post-breakfast. She marathoned last year. Cues embed discipline deeply. Another key is tracking progress. Log your efforts. It builds proof you're advancing, silencing doubts. Warren Buffett tracks investments, saying, "What gets measured gets managed." I log daily tasks, calls, writing. It fuels my coaching growth. Anna tracked workouts, boosting confidence. She led a firm initiative. Tracking turns discipline into a story of wins. Also, build accountability. Share goals with a trusted circle. They'll nudge you. Michelle Obama leans on friends, saying, "We rise together." My mentor checks my plans, keeping me sharp. I coached a client named Mark, a salesman who slacked on leads. Obama's circle inspired him to report to a buddy. His sales soared. Support locks and discipline. Finally, anchor to purpose. Your why, growth, love, impact, fuels commitment. Viktor Frankl stayed disciplined in hardship for meaning, saying, "Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of purpose." My purpose, empowering others, drives me through chaos. These habits, cues, tracking, accountability, purpose, build discipline that lasts a lifetime.
Those are such vibrant tools, Andrew. Robbins' cues, Buffett's tracking, Frankel's purpose. It's a blueprint for consistency. As we close, what's one final piece of advice for listeners ready to develop self-discipline today?
My biggest advice is to choose one disciplined act now. Discipline grows from a single, intentional step. Think of Oprah Winfrey, who built her empire one show at a time, saying, "The big miracle comes from the small steps you take." For me, it was that 10-minute coding habit, sparking a life I love. One last story. I coached a single dad named Brian, a carpenter who couldn't stick to budgeting, risking debt. He felt lost. We looked at Abraham Lincoln, disciplined through setbacks, saying, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Brian tracked one expense daily. It grew. His savings stabilized, and he started a kids' workshop. If Brian can do it, so can you. Pick one act today. Write a line, skip a scroll, walk a block. That step builds a disciplined, thriving life.
What a beautiful way to wrap up, Andrew. Brian's story, alongside legends like Oprah and Lincoln, shows discipline is for everyone. Thank you for sharing such profound wisdom and practical steps. I know our listeners are ready to take charge of their habits.
Thank you, Emily, and to all the listeners. I hope you feel empowered to shape your life with discipline and purpose.
And that's it for today's episode of Journey to Success. If this conversation sparked your drive, and I'm betting it did, please hit that subscribe button to catch every empowering episode. Share this with someone ready to build focus, and join us next time for more insights to fuel your journey. Until then, keep choosing discipline, one step at a time.